Well, this video comes a year late. It would have been perfect to review the dragons I received last year in the Year of the Dragon, but many things happened, so here we are now. It's obvious from the name of this channel that I love dragons, and I was always fascinated by old medieval art featuring dragons and monsters when I was a kid. But it really wasn't until I discovered Dungeons and Dragons that I had a kind of codified system of arranging all the different forms. This was then followed by my discovery of Dragonlance, which further increased the awe and mystique of these wonderful creatures. Then the McFarlane dragons came along, followed by the Monster Hunter ones, but I never really had more traditional ones. Fortunately, viewer Amir Alabi clued me into the Icons of the Realm's Dungeons and Dragons line. Some I managed to get at original prices, even half price for the blue, but the white and green were way too pricey. I didn't manage to get the white, and I've reviewed that. Last year, I managed to get the green, and here it is. Like the white dragon, the first thing I noticed was the size. It's huge. In fact, it's the largest of all the Icons of the Realm's adult dragons I have. This is interesting because red dragons are supposed to be the biggest, so perhaps this might be an outlier or an elder dragon. Like the white dragon, some of its defining features have been retained from the first edition, most notably this frill that runs down the entire length. However, you can see here that originally it had a more crocodilian, spinosaurid skull, which unfortunately has been lost. It's a pity, as it would have lent another defining character to this dragon, and an insider pleasure for dinosaur fans. Now the overall color. As expected, the primary color is green, but unexpectedly, the paint application is better than the other Icons dragons, which I've complained about. Throughout, there are washes not only of orange-brown, but different shades of the primary color as well. So in various regions, you don't get that kind of boring unicolor that we saw in the other Icons dragons. Strangely, the only disappointment is the face, which is an obvious focal point. It's totally applied in one color and contrasts with the attempted complexity elsewhere. So let's get to the detail, beginning with the head. Now this is quite a ferocious dragon, an idea helped by the shape of the head. It's a pretty interesting shape. See how quickly it tapers here. So I like that kind of differentiation from the other dragons. In the mouth, you see that forked tongue, which green dragons have. There are some different shades of red. But as I said, the face itself is just a lazy, uniform green. It really would have been the simplest thing in the world to have just a bit of dry brushing to bring out texture and detail. Now going down, you can see the frill, which reminds me of a Margasaurus. The fades of color and the texture are interesting. And speaking of texture, you see this very spiny kind of scale, almost like some jagged plate. I really like this terraced look down the neck here. Then on the ventral side, you see the very fine scales. So you have 3 zones of different textures, which is very interesting visually. Going down the body, you can see yet very pleasing scale textures again. Now they're nowhere like the fine scalation we've seen in our dinosaur models, but they don't need to be, since these scales are almost plate mail-like in their layering. Now down the arm, the bulk of the muscles covered by the scales are very nicely formed. The forearm scutes are similar to the tarsal scutes on the foot. And down here in the claws, again they're tinged with some green. And behind, you see the almost doomsday-like spikes protruding. Continuing down again, very nice musculature in the lats. And the muscles powering the wings. Armor plating on the belly. And then down the leg. You can see that the sculpting is really good. If only it were complemented by the paint application. Still, it's much better than some other dragons in the line. And now the wings. As with the other Wizkids Dungeons & Dragons adult dragons, they're huge, and in terms of span and area, probably more believable as wings than many other dragon depictions. Again, we have a different form and texture compared to the other dragons, which gives the species some specificity. There are these interesting transverse bands that cross the wing fingers, and it's a very nice detail. As if these wings are so big, there has to be some reinforcement to take the flying stresses on this huge dragon. They are there on both sides. And you can see how the paint application here is really quite nice. You see a very dark green that fades to a lighter green down here, and here, and then some orange-brown of the wing membrane. Like the others, it comes with a standard feature. This clear stand denoting a 3-inch space for gaming purposes. Although, given the actual size of this one compared to, say, the blue, it does seem like it should occupy more space on the grid map. On the underside, you see the stenciled adult green dragon. Now some comparisons. This time, I have some really good ones. First, the Series 7 Fire Dragon. Then perhaps a bit of a cheat, this Series 5 Water Dragon. And perhaps one of the most awesome dragons in the entire McFarlane series, the Series 5 Berserker. And finally, from the Monster Hunter line, this Creator's Model Raytheon. So that's it really. I have to say that after the lackluster paint job of the red and the blue, I wasn't hoping for too much, and I'm pleasantly surprised that the paint tabs on this one does the sculpt a bit more justice. In addition, the adult green dragon is big, with very nice sculpting, so I think it will probably be a people's favorite because of this. It just has such a commanding presence, and it's in flight as well. I certainly think that this and the black are probably my favorites from the line. So that's it for now. I really do want to get to a couple other dragons, so I hope I'll see you soon with another video.